What's happening, all you smooth criminals? I'm your host, Taylor McWaters.
And I'm Kyle McWaters.
Alright, see you.
Alright. And these are the top 10 largest criminal fines in history. Coming in at number 10, Rory Delaney. I thought I'd start this list off nice and easy and more on the cheaper side of things. This one is fun. We all remember this movie. Project X, the comedy from 2012 about a young man who decides to throw the biggest, raddest kegger ever at his parents' house and ends up getting in a ton of trouble. Yeah, fun fact, also the most illegally torrented movie of 2012. I don't know, just a fun fact for you. And yes, based on a very true story. Delaney, now Worthington, of Melbourne, Australia, decided in 2008 that he would throw a small yet quaint shindig with a couple of his buddies. Couple chips, couple dips. Actually, it was more like, quote, "Parents away, tell your mates. You don't want to miss this, it's going to be huge." Written on MSN, publicly. Well, this online invite turned into about 600 raging teenagers showing up to one house. If you've seen the movie, that's pretty well it. Basically looked like The Purge, but like four locos on the lawn everywhere. Crashed and broken cars, broken into homes. The street an absolute nightmare. But a school legend. Small fine though for mom and dad, only about $20,000 in damages. Not a bad fine. More of a fun little slap on the wrist if you ask me. Hey, drywall holes and a new roof are gonna cost ya. If we threw a rager back in high school, what do you think mom and dad would do? Like they'd publicly skin us like a medieval cat.
I would never see my phone again. I'd be grounded for life. Number 9, Tiger Woods. Yeah, before we head down to the oil spills and cover-ups and all that jazz, we gotta have some fun, right? 14-time champion Tiger Woods. He's been in many spotlights over the many years, but we'll keep this in this lane for now, you know? Lane. He's good. Back in 2011, after the Masters, a viewer from Texas wrote to the FCC to complain that one Tiger Woods had been cursing and using a profane 4-letter word on live television. How dare he? I wonder why. Then later on during the second round coverage, another viewer wrote in and they say, "On Good Friday, while my husband was watching the Masters golf tournament, all of a sudden the living room was now filled with a person swearing, using the Lord's name in vain, and damning during golf." How unacceptable is that? When watching a sports program, we should be free from vile, insulting assaults like this one issued by Tiger Woods when he was unhappy with his golf drive. Yeah, good thing this household doesn't watch rugby. I don't know, imagine that. Yeah, I can't imagine what's frustrating about messing up a 400-yard drive in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, what compels a person to swear in a moment like that? I wonder, can't imagine. Every time my finger touches a hot pan, it just comes out, you can't help it. I swear at mini golfing, I'll be at a mini golfing thing 14 feet away from a birthday party. They're hiding behind like a glow-in-the-dark whale and I'm like, okay.
Number 8, JP Morgan Chase. We've heard about this name in every movie that involves a suit. Guys in a suit? JP Morgan is a line somewhere in that movie. Basically, this company in 1877 started as a bank and then funded some construction stuff and then bought some more banks, then paid for some public stuff. Hey, Brooklyn's Bridge, nice. And some more online banking stuff till we finally know it as one of the largest financial industries on earth. JP Morgan Chase literally has a hand in everything in everyone's pocket. Where do I tap? Just right here. And that's done? Wow. And in 2021 was slapped with a huge fine for over 300 years worth of info publicly being traded and leaked. Two separate banking regulators have charged JP Morgan Chase over $200 million for leaking crucial security data on their work communication platform, WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. You know the worldwide conversation maker? All you need is a number and an area code. Well, apparently employees have been using this platform as their main source of communication since early 2015, and it seems that it breaches a couple of their security protocols. I get random people asking me all the time if this is Bridget or Trisha. Imagine 300 years worth of secure data, trillions of dollars at stake, and they're asking Tom where he's getting lunch today. Couldn't you just email each other at the office? You know, someone was just sitting there for hours on end scrolling through 1777 documents in WhatsApp trying to find out where there's buried treasure. Keywords. Keywords.
Number 7, Rory Mcllroy. Okay, I had to include another golf one because it's so funny to me. It's funny to me that the sport that requires the most patience and stillness around every player, there's literally a guy that walks around with a shush board, like it's a live sitcom from the 90s. It's respected. Even the way you clap during golf, that's not a hockey clap, it's a classy clap. It's a golf clap, you know? It has like a little weird thing to it. So when people like Rory Mcllroy toss a club after said peaceful sport moment, It's jarring, right? It's gonna shock you. The USGA takes professionalism very seriously, and back in 2015, in the second round of the World Championships, on the 8th hole, Rory Mcllroy hits his ball right into the water on a par 5, and in a fit of rage, he tosses his club into the pond as well, which is wild. Moments earlier, both the ball and the club were on land. Now they're both sunken treasure. All because of this man, Rory. This isn't golf-like, this isn't professional. God knows he probably swore too. So in turn, Rory was fined $25,000. And after a quick apology, that fine dropped down to $5,000. Yeah, all because he said sorry.
Number 6, Volkswagen. Next up, emissions. Das Auto. Volkswagen has been issued a couple fines in the last 15 years. Hey, great cars, but a couple of issues here. Apparently, Volkswagen has been under investigation by the automotive industry and the European Commission since around 2009 for violating harmful emissions qualifications and even selling defective cars to other countries, in which Canada charged Volkswagen about $200 million in a lawsuit over unsafe manufacturing, $450 million in a cartel dispute surrounding the unsafe regulation of outdated nitrogen oxide technology, named as the main player in the Dieselgate scandal. The Dieselgate scandal, like the Watergate scandal. I don't get the reference, I'm way too young. Basically, they got caught using cheap and faulty software that doesn't meet safe to use emission standards and had to fess up. Lying, cheating, and covering it up, huh? Just driving and coughing non-stop, 13 puffers and car payments for a Mini Cooper. Who'd have thought? Perfect. To date, Volkswagen has been issued around $1 billion in legal fines. Yikes.
Number 5, Google. The search engine that got me through school, jobs, adulthood, everything really, you name it. First of all, I remember when Google was new or newer. Like, I would sit for hours as a kid and just Google photos of boats or buildings, just things that exist in the world, because I could. It was fun. Things on the internet, that was exciting enough, but apparently not for Google. The tech giant was hit with a $4.3 billion fine by EU regulators for breaking antitrust laws. Yeah, antitrust, the same company that autofills all your every time you try and sign in. Remember that one. Also, hit thumbs up, or else.
Number 4, Siemens. A household name. Not even sure how to say it correctly. We know this company. Industry, healthcare, and energy. It's one of those companies that puts money into a ton of stuff like cyber this and cyber that. It's most known for tech stuff, software, and billion-dollar bribes. That's right. German engineering giant Siemens AG has been fined $800 million by US authorities and an additional $395 million by German authorities. The company recently pleaded guilty to the corruption charges bribing foreign officials that violates a law called the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Between 2002 and 2017, the companies acted as a cartel to illegally share out contracts valued at around $4 billion. The company is alleged to have bribed officials approximately 4,000 times between 2000 and 2006, with the goal of winning contracts abroad as an alpha supplier. Okay, so a little mob stuff, huh? I like it. A little suitcase full of money kind of thing. And that's exactly what happened. Hidden bank accounts, obscure intermediaries, and pseudo consultants. That's a mouthful. FBI caught on, of course, in 2008, but it wasn't until 2021 that the investigation unfolded and fines were issued. In total, about $1.6 billion for foreign bribery charges. Wow, that's a lot of money.
Number 3, Bank of America. Following the financial crisis of 2008, banks were held under a new light. This was a black light, right? Ready to see all the yuck going on behind that dirty counter. What's going on over there? What is that? Show me that. Any sketchy detailings will now be abundantly clear. Let's avoid further financial situation. We can't be putting out subprime loans to sketchy clients anymore. We need people who are going to pay us back. Kind of helps. Then cut to 2013, the company was caught for selling toxic mortgages to investors. Yeah, that's a no-no. They were a big part of the financial crisis, so this time the Bank of America got a fine. This time they got fined $16.65 billion. That's like 2 games of Monopoly put together, all the cash if you add them up. That's a lot of cash.
Number 2, Tepco, Tokyo Electric Power Company. Okay, so now we're talking big money. Big whoopsie daisies. 4 former Tepco executives have been ordered by court to pay $80 billion over the 2011 Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster. In March 2011, a large undersea earthquake off the coast of Japan triggered a massive tsunami. When the huge waves flooded the generators, the cooling systems failed, causing the reactors to melt. The Fukushima meltdown was considered the worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl in 1986 and prompted the declaration of a 30-kilometer evacuation zone around the Japanese plant. Tepco is currently engaged in a decades-long effort to decommission the plant, which will take years to clear. The devastation alone caused the deaths of 18,000 people and wiped out entire towns off the map. Yeah, that's gonna cost you. Also, how are these 4 dudes gonna come up with 80 billion? It's like 20 billion each. Hey, if you're gonna ignore the massive tsunami warnings from scientists, you're gonna have to clean it up, dude. Also, a huge nuclear power plant close to an underwater volcano? Explain that one to me.
And finally, number 1, Pfizer. When we think of the name Pfizer, there's now obviously mixed feelings. Pun intended. But back in 2009, before they were making cures, they were paying hefty fines. The world's largest pharmaceutical company had to pay a record-breaking fine. They had to pay $2.3 billion in criminal and civil penalties over unlawful prescription drug promotions. Yeah, you can't be doing that stuff. Included in this mighty slap on the wrist was a $1.2 billion criminal fine. And the agreement was also a criminal forfeiture of $105 million. This was the 4th time Pfizer got charged with this magnitude in a decade. They were on a bad streak, dare I say. They promoted their products at resorts. They would invite doctors in to these meetings and then give them golf or massages. They would pepper you up, right? So you were then Team Pfizer, right? You were on board. FBI Assistant Director Kevin Perkins says the corporate giant was blatantly violating the law and misleading the public through false marketing claims, i.e. golf. See, it's always golf. That's why they're swearing. They're making cures over there for that left swing.
Hey, remember that remote control car you broke when I was about 8?
I don't think so.
That's okay. I'll see you in court on Thursday. I've been your host, Kyle McWaters.
I'm Taylor McWaters, and we'll see you next time on Bumblebee. I beat you.
No, you didn't. Dude, come here.
When watching a sports program, we should be free from vile insults. She's still going. I forgot this was still her.
He's a Monopoly cheater, man. You're the Monopoly family cheater. I'm calling it.